Okay, so today you're going to need a set of paints, so you can use watercolours or acrylics or whatever you've got, a pencil, some paintbrushes, either some oil pastels. Now these are optional. If you don't have these, that's fine, but you can use oil pastels or wax crayons. And also, if you've got them, you can use these water-soluble pencils so that you can put water on top of them and create them in more like a painting. So, but don't worry if you haven't got those. These are just optional. Really, this is a project where you can use whatever you've got to hand as far as colour and that kind of thing's concerned. So, this is all about animals and creating your own what we call hybrid animals. And hybrid means when you cross one thing with another and you get something that has the character of maybe 2 or 3 different things. So what you need to do first of all is choose your animals, and you can choose any kind of animals, fish, you know, amphibians, frogs, toads, lizards, you know, any kind of living animal you can choose. And you're going to do the top half of one and the bottom half of another and join them together. So what you'll need to do first of all, so you get your paper, I'm just going to move that one out of the way. Get your paper and fold it in half widthways like that. And put a nice crease down the middle. And then unfold it again, so that you can see the halfway point. And that's going to be where your animal is joined together in the middle there. So you'll need to choose 2 different animals, and I'm going to do, I love giraffes, so I'm going to do a giraffe head, and then I'm going to do a kind of fish back end, I think. So it's going to be a strange kind of fishy, fishy giraffe. So you need to just do an outline with a pencil. If you want to go and find some pictures of your animals, first of all, you know, if you want to have something to look at, to draw from, then go and do that. That's a good idea. Or you can, if you feel confident enough, or if you don't mind if it doesn't look exactly like the animal you're drawing, you can just do this from your head. Anyway, I'm just going to have a go. Let's see if I can do a sort of giraffe's neck. Obviously, you need to make sure you've got lots of space if you're doing something like a giraffe. They've got 2 ears, haven't they? They don't have to be accurate. You know, they can be quite cartoon-like if you want them to be. So I'm going to do its legs here. It's got a sort of thing at the back there. Do its other foot. I mean, your drawings don't have to look anything like this. They can be totally different. And then its body comes up to here. That looks quite a funny giraffe. Very thin legs. Not quite long enough. But there we go. So there you go. That's where it starts there. And then I'm going to do a kind of fish tail. And back to the join in the middle there. Okay, so you've got the outline of your animal, and then, I mean, you can put details in if you want to. Eyes, the shape of its mouth maybe. Those ears would need to be much bigger, but it's a made-up animal, so it doesn't really matter if your proportions are a bit wrong, and if you've got short stubby legs and they're meant to be really long, or if they're, you know, if the eyes are too big or too small. It can't be, because this is completely from your imagination. So you can make your animal look however you want it to look. And I'm going to do the sort of giraffe patterns. And then they're going to slightly change as they come over here into my fish. And they're going to become a little bit more, a bit longer maybe. So it kind of changes. And then you can decide whether or not you want to do a background. So if you want to, you could do, so giraffes like eating the leaves off tall trees, so we could have a branch here that this giraffe is eating from. So you can put some leaves on a tree next to it. A little bit of grass there, and then somehow this sky could do a sky here that turns into the sea. So this could be underneath the sea here. Might have some seaweed, some anemone, something like that growing at the bottom, or some rocks. So the background changes as well, so that you've got half one kind of background and half of another. And then when you've drawn the outline, you can start painting. Now, normally it's a good idea to paint the background first and then work your way towards doing the animal last, just because it means that you don't then have to do the background, you know, you don't have to carefully go around the outline of your animal. So I'm going to just put a little bit of a background in here just to show you, but then you can carry on. What colours shall we have? Let's have a sort of dark bluey sea colour. And you can see it doesn't really matter too much if you just, you know, if you slightly go over the edges of your animal, it's not a problem. So you can use paints, you can use your crayons and pencils. One thing that's nice to do, which I'm going to do, is you can use anything that resists water. So anything that's like an oil pastel or a wax crayon. I'm going to do some of the patterns on the giraffe's body in those. Because what happens, we've done this a few times before, so you've probably known by now what happens when you put watery paints on top is that it doesn't cover up the bits that you've done in the oil pastels or the wax crayons. So I'll just do that kind of quickly, just so that I can show you what I'm going to do next. Get a clean brush and we'll use the orange, sort of orangey yellow I've got here, maybe a bit of both, and then you can literally just kind of paint over it and it will resist, you know, it won't go, the water paint won't go over the top of that waxy sort of oily pastel. Okay, so you can give your animal patterns and shapes, and I might do the same with the fish, but I'm going to do maybe different colours for the markings on the fish, so that you can really see the difference between the two animals, but you can see how it sort of gradually changes into it. Okay, so I'll carry on doing a little bit more painting, and you could sort of maybe try and make the sea and the sky blend in a bit, so we can have a nice kind of bright blue sky turning into the water. It can be both, can't it? But maybe the sky gets a little bit lighter. So if you've got watercolours, all you need to do is just put a little bit more water with your paint, and it makes it a bit lighter. And then when you do the sea, you use more paint and less water. One thing that's quite nice for a sea effect as well is if you've got a white crayon or pastel, you can kind of make some patterns on the paper. You do have to press quite hard with these, but then when you go over with the paint, as long as it's not too thick, those white marks will stay, so you get quite a nice effect. And you can see that sort of waxy effect, can't you? Okay. And then by the end of this, you should have a picture with a strange made-up animal, and you can give it a name maybe. Okay, I'll see how you get on.